Hello, friend, and welcome to Renegades of the Podcast, a monthly podcast for all the aliens, hosted by us, Unheard, Sirens Incorporated. I am Remy Trail, aka Remy Renegade.
I'm Juliet.
Yes, and we are a husband and wife duo. We make pop music from an alternate universe, sort of our spin on synth pop and synthwave and retro wave. But we're also lifelong nerds, and we talk on this podcast about all the things that inspire us: music, sci-fi, culture, art, fantasy. We like to have fun. We pick topics that we enjoy going deep on. So
art is life, and life is art.
Indeed.
So our lives are very influenced by art, including pop culture and media, and then it goes back into the art we create. So it's a relationship of sort of exploring how we find ourselves at this moment in the galaxy, floating on this little speck of rock.
Indeed,
making synthwave music.
Indeed, if you've never heard our music, first of all, if you've found our podcast and never heard our music before,
yay, cool.
Please check us out. Hi, welcome. And also please
check out our videos.
Check out our music. That's right.
Yeah.
The first topic we have to talk about is something that you're probably already aware of, unless you're living under a rock, and that's the ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes that are going on with the big producers and stuff like that. And first of all, if you don't know what's going on, I'm going to try and briefly summarize it, and I'll probably miss several details. But I invite you to check out some of the videos in the description box that are links that really go deep into all the issues that are going on. But basically, it's there are thousands upon thousands of people working in the entertainment industry right now who are not making what they should, and it's really sad, especially with like streaming residuals are not what they should be, and also AI technology is coming in and it's threatening to replace some lower background actors and writers and stuff like that, replace their jobs essentially. This isn't just the big actors and writers you hear about all the time who are making millions and millions of dollars. There are several more who you probably watch on Netflix or Hulu or whatever you watch. Some great who you would think could pay their rent and have health care and stuff, but can't.
They're having to have second jobs the whole time they're in hit TV shows, and don't earn enough to qualify for their health insurance in the actors union and stuff. So it's really quite. It's really. Yeah. And the CEOs have gone from making an average of 30 times as much as your average actor to 400-ish times
as much, which is
as your average actor, which is more than 10 times increase.
Unbelievably unfair. Yeah.
While the pay of the actors, as opposed to the cost of living and just regular inflation. There's been nothing done about that. So basically, I think the industry has done everything it can to get away with everything it can for as long as it can. And then we're at the breaking point, and they're having to really hold the line and push back against an industry that's become more and more abusive of the people that do all the work and create all of the work. The people that know how to market the work and schmooze are just taking more and more and more and more and more of all of the
CEOs
profits ever generated.
Aren't the ones creating anything. They're just basically the gamblers at the casino saying, "Oh, we're going to put money behind this project, big money, big money." And
they're the snake charmers. They talk well, and they can talk to the investors, and they can talk to other bureaucrats and producers and the stockholders, shareholders. And those are important things too, because you got to keep the wheels all greased. But there is a lot of money in the system, and it needs to be distributed in a more equitable and fair way. And it needs to trickle down, and it needs to go to the people that are creating the work that keeps this all going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're definitely at a breaking point for sure, because one, it's like there's been several high profile flops, that have come out recently, like movies that everybody expected was going to make, had like $200-300 million in its budget and didn't make any of that money back. First of all, those budgets are ridiculous, and secondly, it's like that
things have been shifting since the pandemic anyway. So they are kind of gambling on, do we still have blockbusters? Is that the world we're living in? Like, is that the kind of project to fund? But also they're playing it so safe when it comes to the projects that are getting those mega budgets. And so you have tiny budgets of the independents and then these massive excessive budgets for the blockbusters. And it doesn't necessarily portray what people want to see or what people are turning up to pay for now. That it is safe, you know, to be out and about in public. And most places in the world right now, the pandemic has abated in a way that we can go back to the theaters. But, you know, how do we want to? At first, everything was like at home and in the theater. Now they're trying to force that behavior to change by not releasing it at home and having more movies that are, you know, just for the theater. So they're trying to like influence our behavior again, but people can, you know, are voting with their behavior, with their wallets. And, you know, some of this is going to be shifting. So,
I mean, that's a whole nother issue of like,
you know,
budgets and what they're making and stuff like that. But like, as far as like the pay structure for, you know, people making your stuff, it's like, I think, first of all, I feel like if you're one of those people watching like, oh, these are just a bunch of entitled rich actors, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not making that amount of money and you're working like a minimum wage job. You're thinking that. I think more industries need to be doing what the actors and writers are doing and need to be striking. It's like, this is not a problem that is unique to Hollywood actors and writers. This is across the board of like people who are getting taken advantage of.
This is capitalism, folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, some big changes.
But they're lucky enough that they have a union, which almost no one in America has. There are very, very few labor unions in operation. It's very regional.
People at the top
of places in the country that actually have any, and they get weakened all the time. So it's also, they're sort of fighting for more than just themselves, because they're fighting for the ability to organize as workers and push back against a system that's more and more and more to take, you know, unevenly distributed. The profits are going, you know, 98% to the people on top. So the 2% get 98% of the profits, and 98% get 2% of the profits. And that's kind of how capitalism is going, folks. I don't know if you've, we're going to talk a lot about this in this podcast, but I don't know if you've been paying attention. But the little guys are getting screwed, y'all. And there's a whole lot of the top 1-2%.
The top
people,
1% of the top 1%.
They also have no interest in a middle class. They only want worker drones that make nothing, and then they want to have a lot of money and a lot of power. And they're not interested in all of this middle stuff. And we're fighting for middle ground, because the actors are, you know, something like $26,000 for the average salary. And that's not a living wage in LA and New York, where most of them are located.
That's ridiculous.
And they don't qualify for their own health insurance as actors that are part of a guild if their earnings are below $26,000. So you're talking about people that are full-time actors that we think are living luxurious lives, and they certainly have to do a lot of auditions and a lot of training. They have to change their bodies and think about their style and do all of this like marketing of their physical selves, which I have to say is a little bit worrying, you know. And they love acting and they want to do it, and then they're not making as much as they could make at the local coffee shop, even if they dropped out of high school. So how is this the industry that, and everybody's glued to the tube? So you know, we're all watching things, we're streaming things, we're on our phones, we're on our televisions, we're still going to the movies. I mean, this is part of our world now, and it shouldn't be so out of balance.
No, I don't care what work. I don't care if you're flipping burgers or if you're writing scripts for Hollywood. If you're working 40 hours a week, you should be able to make enough money to have a roof over your head
and health insurance
and
good health insurance and a good roof over your head
and pay your rent. It's like
the phenomenon of the working poor in our nation.
These should not be radical opinions.
Increasing that people are working full time, working more than one job, and they still can't pay their bills. And at the same time, you know, the political system pecks away at what backup people have in terms of other social supports for people that are working poor. What are they supposed to do? You know, what are any of us supposed to do? So I'm really glad they're striking. I know it's got to be really hard on them. The writer's strike started first. So they've been in this several months longer, and now the actors have joined them, which is good. It strengthens the position of the writers to have another guild striking. I think that's
the first time that's happened in like 60 years or something like that.
So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I'm glad it's happening. I hope it helps to bring more weight to this, and I think it is going to affect how many new things come out. They'll be they'll be
it'll
scrambling
affect
to
things,
have
for sure.
6 months, a year, 18 months from now, depending on how long the strike goes on, 2 years from now, we're going to see a lot of downstream effects from the strike, and we should.
Yeah.
The industry has gotten completely out of balance, and they have every right to fight for what they're worth, and I wish them luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you can go back and watch really good things that already exist that maybe you haven't watched yet, which we're going to keep talking about this segment. Yeah. It's like 2 more shows. Maybe you haven't watched yet, but I'll save it.
But first I will say, so what was I going to say? So first of all, if you're hearing what we're saying, if you want to help out, I would encourage you to donate to the Entertainment Community Fund. That is entertainmentcommunity.org. I'll link that in the description box down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Definitely give what you can to help those people who are struggling right now, who are on the picket line, who are on the front line, fighting for their rights. And
there are executives from these companies that went on the record to be quoted saying, "We just want to wait them out until they start losing their homes." And we know that it's a cold and evil plan, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's capitalism,
Not
folks.
the good guys.
P.S. Are you paying attention? This is just capitalism. Those nasty, evil things that the executives are saying, that's what they're saying in every industry. That's what executives think.
Yeah.
They'll just wait us all out until we die or starve or lose our homes, and that'll make us more compliant, and they'll just get more profits and more money and stick it in their ears and feel really superior and go, But nonetheless, that's how we can help. We can help by, if we have enough contributing to the fund that's helping the actors to stay well and feed their families and not lose their homes while they're trying to, push this to a point of fair negotiations.
But anyway, so as of this recording, I think I heard somewhere that in the next few days, or maybe it already happened, so the writers were supposed to go back to the table with the producers union recently. So we'll see what happens. Again, as of this recording, things could have changed. We run that risk with this topic, but here's the thing.
Any podcast is like that. But trying to talk about current events.
At the same time, it's like, I hope this podcast is outdated sooner rather than later. I hope you're watching this and this is far in the past. I hope that the writers and the actors get everything they're asking for. I hope that they. I think the residuals piece might get a little dicey as far as how much they get, because we got greedy capitalists. So my worry with that is if they're required to pay so much in residuals, they're going to start streaming services are going to start slashing more of their lesser performing content that isn't some big moneymaker like Stranger Things or something. That's a little worrisome, but I think
it's better that
they should be getting paid more though.
Than keep shorting the people that create the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd rather just go back into the catalog and start rewatching and finding new things that we all missed the first time, and have less content come out and have people be working towards a more fair structure for compensation than just have new stuff for the sake of new stuff. Because that's another thing that's flawed about capitalism, is everything is based on each new quarter's rankings, and everything is about executives pleasing shareholders that are investing in the stock market and believing in these companies, and the belief in the success of the company that causes resources to flow into it is quarter by quarterly earnings. So it's always more, always new, always something else. And we have a lot of content in our world. And, if there was a huge drying up of new content, I actually think that would be good. We could all chat with each other about things we loved that have really had a positive influence on us and made us think and made us cry and made us laugh and whatever we're looking for. And we've all missed things because there's so much content. So I'm actually, even if they're, it is sad for me sometimes when you can tell in a show that they had a multi-series arc and then they get cut off early. That's really frustrating and really sad, because you can see that the creators knew where it was going to go and they just get silenced in the midst of their storytelling, and it's painful. So that's frustrating and hard. And there's multiple shows that were so sad that just got cut off, and we're not going to get the rest of the story. But at the same time, I'd still rather people be paid fairly.
No, absolutely.
I'll deal with my disappointment, y'all. Go get paid well.
Exactly. No, 100%. I 100% agree with that. And before we move on to our other, main topic for tonight, I want to mention this could, again, we're going to see what's going to happen with these strikes in the coming weeks and months. If it does keep going on, a lot of YouTube creators who actually do so similar stuff to what we do. Again, we're musicians who, kind of review content from the perspective of musicians and how we're influenced by it. But there are other, content creators who do a lot of movie reviews and stuff like that, stuff that I watch a lot, who are taking the stance of of solidarity with the writers and the actors by not doing the regular content that they do and not plugging these big studios who are being struck against, because it's kind of acts as promotion for them in a way and helps them and helps the strikes go on longer. So that could affect us going forward. I'm not going to change anything yet, but in the coming months, if this is still going on, I may retool some of the topics we cover and we may become more music centric. We'll see. We'll see, because I'm in that position of, obviously we're not the biggest channel in the world yet. We have 200 subscribers, but still I want to show as much solidarity as possible. We're not going to change anything just yet, but I will preface it when we start talking about entertainment topics that are entertainment properties that are owned by these big studios. We are not doing this as promotion. We are doing this as, to talk about how these projects inspire us. And we're doing it from that
we
aspect.
study a lot of niche things that are more subculture oriented anyway, and
Sure.
we've done a lot of things that are looking back in the past 40 years
Sure.
of entertainment history, and shows, movies, and music that have all had an influence on culture and on us and on our art and the art of other people that we're following. So I don't think we've been overly plugging the fat cats in their recent production.
But
anyway.
I think even when we do, we can at least preface it by saying, hey, please support the strikes, and we'll tag it with that very important asterisk.
We're on the side of the artists.
Yes, 100%, because we are artists ourselves, and we also would love to get paid more for our art. So
we would welcome those opportunities also.
Absolutely.